coming up tonight on the news at 6.
The vaccination plan that you have in front of you now is kind of our version 1.0.
What is in Montana's newly released COVID-19 vaccination plan? Plus,
in the first half mile, I counted 39 plastic water bottles.
Keeping Montana's waterways clean is not as easy as you might think.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 6.
Good evening. Welcome to the News at 6. I'm Marian Davidson. Thanks for joining us. Our top story tonight, the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services unveiled their COVID-19 vaccination plan and coordination team. Now that team includes representatives from hospitals, tribal governments, and other groups across the state. MTN's Matt Holzaffel reports.
The state's COVID-19 vaccination plan is 38 pages long and answers questions like who will get the vaccine first in Montana and what locations can give those vaccines. At a meeting on Tuesday morning, the Department of Health and Human Services presented that plan and answered a lot of questions. There are still a lot of unanswered questions though, like which vaccine will Montana residents get? And how will the state handle vaccinating active COVID-19 patients? Let's break down what we know.
The vaccination plan that you have in front of you now is kind of our version 1.0.
The state expects this plan to change multiple times before it's finalized, but here are the highlights of the current plan. There will be 3 phases of distribution. In phase 1, limited supply of the vaccine will be available, and it will go to critical infrastructure workers, people at increased risk for severe illness as a result of COVID-19, and others. In phase 2, which the DPHHS estimates will be about 3 to 6 months after the initial vaccines arrive, people who are at increased risk of contracting or transmitting the virus will be prioritized. Then in phase 3, healthy adults with limited or no underlying medical conditions get their turn, as does anyone who has not already received the vaccine and wants to. Officials estimate that will be 6 months or more after the first vaccinations begin.
At this point, everybody needs 2 doses of vaccine. So in order to vaccinate what we would consider to be our healthcare settings, we probably need roughly 90 to 100,000 doses.
So what else? Well, if there are multiple vaccines available, we know that you must get the same vaccine for both the doses. No mixing Pfizer and Moderna or anything like that if multiple vaccines are available. Also, none of these vaccines are currently recommended for anyone under the age of 18. Becky says that's because there isn't data available yet on the effectiveness of these vaccines in children. And the state says these vaccines will be free for everyone, even people not covered by health insurance. For a full breakdown of the plan, including answers to some of your questions, head to our website. In Great Falls, Matt Holzaffel, MTN News.
State officials estimate vaccinations could start as early as mid-December. The vaccine will not be mandatory, but officials say everyone who wants to get it will be able to eventually. Now, if you do have some questions about the vaccine that you want answered, you can email them to us at news@ktvh.com. And now a look at the state's COVID-19 situation. A composite of state and locally reported data shows Montana's COVID-19 case total is nearing 58,000. More than 15,000 of those are active cases. 8 more deaths have been reported since last night, bringing Montana's COVID-19 death total to 652. Now, MTN is using a combination of these sources to deliver the most accurate count on cases each day. Local county health departments may be alerted to cases before Montana DPHHS, and so using that local data means there will be times when MTN COVID-19 data does not align with the state report. All right, now for a look at our weather, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
Well, good evening, everybody. Tuesday here, a Thursday almost, if you will, with a lot of people having a 3-day work week. But we've got Thanksgiving just a couple of days away right now. And looking across the country, there's a pretty decent sized storm, multifaceted storm, snow, severe thunderstorms, some flooding. But that system will quickly move out of the picture if anybody's traveling not only just across Montana, but across the country here. Here is the next system. Not a very strong system, not a very threatening system, but a storm nonetheless. will come through Montana here tomorrow on one of what is typically one of the busier travel days of the year. With that storm headed our way, high wind warning for the Rocky Mountain front. You feel it out there already, and a winter weather advisory for the higher elevations pretty well west of the Continental Divide. A little wintry tomorrow, a little wind, a little snow, and maybe a little travel heading up over the mountain passes. Thanksgiving Day, the weather is for the birds, and maybe a good time to wash your car after tomorrow. More of the full forecast coming up.
Thanks for that, Curtis. The Montana chapter of the ACLU is celebrating after settling a high-profile lawsuit against Customs and Border Patrol in Havre. The lawsuit was filed after a Border Patrol agent questioned and detained two women last year because they were speaking Spanish. CBP has agreed to pay the two women an undisclosed amount of money. The ACLU says this case uncovered a history of racial profiling against Hispanics and a now deleted Facebook group in which CBP officers joked about the deaths of migrants. According to the ACLU, the officer who questioned the two women in Havre was a member of that group.
Settling the case is good. It obviously sends a message that this kind of conduct won't be tolerated and that government agencies have to be held accountable. But at the same time, there's more work to do.
CBP did release a statement today saying, in part, the settlement, quote, should not be construed as an admission of liability or fault on the part of the United States, its agents, servants, or employees. You can read that full statement on our website, ktvh.com. And the Montana Attorney General's office announced a multi-state settlement over a 2014 data breach involving Home Depot. The $17.5 million settlement involves 46 states and the District of Columbia. Between April and September of 2014, malware on Home Depot's payment system allowed hackers to access payment information of customers who used the company's self-checkout system. The state of Montana will collect more than $95,000. Now, through this settlement, that money will fund ongoing consumer protection activities like data privacy education. Home Depot also agreed to implement and maintain a series of data security practices to keep customers' personal information safe. And still ahead on the news at 6, Thanksgiving will look a little different this year, and restaurants are not complaining about it.
Montana's news leader. You're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the News at 6. Surveys show that upward of 70% of Americans plan to spend Thanksgiving differently than they have in the past. Most families say they will not gather for the holiday, and a growing number of people are opting out of cooking and instead ordering a Thanksgiving meal. Alicia Nieves shows us how, beyond reducing the spread of COVID-19, this is helping restaurants rebound.
It has been months since restaurant kitchens have been this busy.
It feels awesome to come in and do what we do.
Richard Pagogi is a chef at the Delaney House restaurant and event venue in Massachusetts. He has spent the past week prepping dozens of turkeys after seeing a surge of to-go Thanksgiving meal orders, the result of more people staying home and not gathering this holiday.
Our country as a whole truly wants to do the right thing and get through this. I think people heed the warnings. I think people understand what's going on.
Delaney's is on pace to more than double the amount of to-go Thanksgiving dinners it sold last year.
This is what came in today.
On average, getting at least 200 new Thanksgiving to-go orders a day.
Oh, you'd like to place a holiday order?
We're one of those restaurants that before the pandemic, if you came here on a Friday or Saturday night, you had to wait an hour and a half to come in.
Peter Roscothan is the owner of Delaney's and says their to-go Thanksgiving order boost comes after the restaurant has dealt with a 75% drop in business.
It's hard to find money for payroll. It's hard to dig into your own reserves when you don't want to, but you have to kind of climb through this.
That burden is being relieved for a few weeks now. And what's more, it's giving his team glimmers of hope that they and other restaurants around the country can get through these difficult times.
It keeps us hanging on. And that's what we're doing. We're hanging on.
I am hopeful, and I think they're hopeful, they see something like Thanksgiving happen, and it's a little lift.
A much needed lift and reminder of what better days look like, thanks to the sacrifice many are making by not gathering this Thanksgiving Day.
Okay, what can I get for you today?
I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
You like a whole...
All right, now for another look at the weather, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Gravenitz.
Anybody else hungry out there? Looking forward to dinner in a couple of days here. But hey, we've got a lot of wind to talk about, not only for tomorrow, but also Thanksgiving Day. I'll let you know if there's anything else headed our way coming up in the forecast next.
Now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Gravenitz.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Looking at pretty nice sky conditions out there, pretty sunset here, pretty strong wind as well, 37 degrees, southwest winds gusting up to 30 miles per hour in Great Falls. And that wind is going to remain strong tonight, tomorrow, and also on Thanksgiving. 37 in Helena, and yeah, a little breezy at times this afternoon. The wind is now coming down to about 5 miles per hour. Temperatures pretty much in the 30s, couple of 20s. Glasgow, northeast corner. Southwest corner, Dillon at 29. And there you can see the wind. Cup Bank, one of the locations here right along the Rocky Mountain front, under a high wind warning through tonight and through most of tomorrow. Here's the wind, and it will be a pretty gusty day for Wednesday. That's probably the biggest issue as far as travel widespread impacts here. So maybe just a little pesky wind to contend with. And then heading into Thanksgiving, look at the strong wind again. Rocky Mountain front right along the Continental Divide out into the central parts of the state that are typically windy. So just about everybody dealing with a pretty stiff wind on Thanksgiving. Otherwise, the holiday does not look so bad. On the radar, quiet here. There is the next storm that will be moving in for tomorrow. And here's a pretty decent storm, some snow in the Mile High City and some severe weather into parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. That will be moving through the northeast part of the country for tomorrow. Here is the forecast for Montana, though. Overnight tonight, there's the storm system. Little snow starting to move into Lincoln County after about midnight tonight, and then down the Continental Divide tomorrow morning. If you're traveling over Marias Pass, Rogers Pass, even McDonald Pass, there will be some snow. Look out, Lost Trail, Lolo, also getting some snow at times tomorrow. Bozeman Pass might even have some snow if anybody is heading that way, but largely the snow will remain up into the higher elevations here. There may be a couple of snow showers coming down into Helena. Lincoln likely picking up some snow showers for Boulder, but really it's west of the Divide picking up some of that snow activity. And then heading into Wednesday night, things really quieting down with the exception of that wind. That wind is going to keep on howling through the night and through Thanksgiving. Kings Hill Pass, a little snow on Thanksgiving, and also a couple of snow showers down the Continental Divide. Otherwise, yes, it will be windy, but we will have a pretty decent amount of sunshine here and not too cold here for Thanksgiving afternoon. So you can kind of get outside a little bit if you want to work off some of that turkey and stuffing. But there you can see the snowfall through tomorrow, mainly in the western mountains over the higher terrain. And again, mountain passes may have a little coating of some snow. Here's a look at the longer term forecasts. Friday, mostly sunny. Saturday, looking at a minor system going through, maybe a couple of snow showers north central Montana. A very windy day on Saturday, but we're partly cloudy. Sunday, a mostly sunny day, and that happens again on Monday, and Tuesday we're mostly sunny, and Wednesday we're mostly sunny, and here we are into the beginning of December. It looks like a pretty dry start to our next month. Tonight, temperatures down into the 20s and the 30s. Very windy off the Rocky Mountain front. Little snow, Marias Pass, East Glacier around Browning as well. Out the High Line, just that wind howling through the overnight hours and around the Helena area, mainly up in the higher elevations where we'll have that wind. For tomorrow, look at some of that snow in the western part of the state, really along and west of the Continental Divide. Again, a couple of snow showers maybe into Helena, maybe out across north central Montana. But the wind will be the biggest issue. For Thanksgiving Day, highs in the 30s and the 40s, a windy day, some sun mixed in there as well, so not too bad. Heading into Black Friday, mostly sunny, 40s, even a few 50s out there. Lewistown at 50 degrees. And then for Saturday, here comes this weak cold front that will mainly just produce another day of wind. 7-day forecast for Helena. So we're in the 40s pretty much throughout the 7-day forecast. A couple of snow showers tomorrow morning. Thanksgiving, really not too bad. Thankful for some sunshine and mild temperatures. And look at all that sunshine. See, that's why you wash your car maybe after tomorrow morning. And for Great Falls, mostly cloudy tomorrow, windy day. And what's missing on that 7-day forecast? Rain and or snow.
All right, thanks for that, Curtis. Coming up, keeping Montana beautiful is a no-brainer, but when it comes to reporting trash in the state's waters, it's not as easy as you would think.
As news leader, you're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the News at 6. Montana is not just known for beautiful scenery, it is also a prime fishing spot. So when avid fisherman Patrick Hogan saw the Missouri River near Townsend littered with old water bottles, he could not just let it go. But as MTN's Jessica Nelson discovered, reporting river pollution to a state agency is not as easy as it sounds.
When you put in a Toston, you float directly underneath the new bridge that's being built there along Highway 287, and immediately thereafter started seeing debris up against the left-hand side of the bank.
But this wasn't just 1 or 2 pieces of wood and a couple of old cans.
So I started counting, and within the first half mile, I counted 39 plastic water bottles.
He couldn't believe the entire 11 miles he floated down was full of debris.
So the next day, I decided, I'm going to call Fish, Wildlife and Parks, talk to whoever answered the phone. Put me on hold, which was fine. You need to talk to Department of Transportation.
So Patrick calls up the Montana Department of Transportation.
He said, okay, let me see who the appropriate person to talk to would be. Came back and said, well, that would be our construction management division, and I'll connect you.
Now, if you're keeping track, this is the 3rd person Patrick has been passed off on.
And I said, really, this trash needs to be kept, and somebody needs to be held accountable for it, and I'm not sure who to talk to. And she goes, well, that would be the construction manager for the construction that's going on the bridge. Thank you very much, and hung up.
That was when he decided to reach out to us. During my time researching the debris and who to contact, I started with Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. I was given this response from them. Sounds like we've had multiple calls. We've been directing people to MDT. It isn't our authority here. Sounds like DEQ has the authority to fine people. I then reached out to MDT and received this response. Due to weather and high winds, MDT has worked with the contractor concerning this issue. The contractor is responsible for cleanup of the site. I have followed up with the district and the construction office concerning the phone call, and there have been no calls reported to these locations. MDT told us they never received a call from Patrick or any other concerned citizen. Keep in mind, FWP said they received multiple calls and directed them to MDT. Lastly, I reached out to the Department of Environmental Quality and was told, we don't have any complaints related to this issue. Our team followed up with MDT and it sounds like they are working on it. If you have additional questions, I suggest you connect with MDT.
I'm not trying to be an activist. I just say, this is what I saw. Something needs to be done about it.
In Helena, Jessica Nelson, MTN News.
The DEQ recently posted a how-to guide on their Twitter page outlining what to do if you see debris in Montana waters. You can find that link on our website, ktvh.com. And we'll wrap things up here on the News at 6 when we come back.
Montana's news leader. You're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the News at 6. Here's a weird story for you. Utah public safety officers were stunned when they stumbled on what looked like something out of a sci-fi space film. A mysterious chrome monolith standing upright deep in the remote desert. The officers were in a helicopter helping wildlife workers count bighorn sheep when they spotted the weird object. Now, if you've seen the 1968 film 2001: A Space Odyssey, you'll likely see the resemblance to the monolith at the beginning of the movie. Pilot Brett Hutchings actually referenced the film when he was commenting on the find. He guessed that maybe the object was placed by an artist who was a fan of the movie. Hutchings estimated its height between 10 and 12 feet. Now, authorities are investigating the find, and they are not revealing the location of the monolith. All right, and that does it for the news at 6. We'll see you back here tonight at 10 with your latest headlines and weather. Have a good evening.